Have you ever felt that that real pull in leadership, that constant pressure to get the next qualification, the better title, the resume that just shines, and yet even with all that, something just feels, well, not quite right, like you're ticking boxes, getting the visible wins, but maybe deep down it feels a bit like you're playing a part, not really living it. Maybe there's this nagging feeling that your internal world doesn't quite line up with all the external success. Makes you feel less authentic than you'd like. Well, today we're taking a deep dive into an idea that really hits this head on. Our mission is to explore something pretty fundamental, something that could reshape how we see effective, authentic leadership. It's this idea of wholeness in the soul. And just to be clear, when we talk about that today, we mean this deep internal integration. Think emotional maturity, solid self-awareness, a really grounded sense of who you are. It's about leading from a place of, inner calm and resilience, no matter how crazy things get outside. We want to uncover why this internal stuff isn't just like a nice to have, but absolutely essential, the bedrock.
So our main insights are coming from this really powerful piece, Wholeness in Leadership, Beyond Mental Acuity. It features something key we'll call Leadership Rule, #105. And we're also drawing a lot from Pete Scazzero's fantastic book, Emotionally Healthy Leader, which gives us a great framework for this whole internal journey. Okay, so let's jump right in. Leadership Rule, #105, from our main source, it makes a pretty bold statement, designed to make us stop and think. It says, being whole in your soul is being mentally advanced. That greater than sign, it's not exactly subtle, is it?
No, not at all. It really forces you to look again at what we think makes a great leader.
Right. It immediately challenges those default assumptions. Yeah. It's not saying being smart, strategic thinking, sharp intellect. It's not saying that stuff isn't valuable. Of course it is. We absolutely need that for complex problems, for market insights, for innovation.
Yeah.
But this rule puts something else, something internal above it, paramount.
It's a pretty radical claim, especially today when we tend to idolize brain power, right? Degrees, quick thinking.
Exactly. It questions how we've been taught to climb the ladder, suggests maybe all those late nights studying might have missed the most vital piece.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating is just how much that flips the script on leadership. We're so conditioned through school, work, just society to think the smartest person, the best strategist, the one with the highest IQ, that naturally who should lead. We chase those external signs of intelligence, of competence. But Scazzero, he gives us this different angle, almost counterintuitive. He says the most important thing a leader brings to their work is themselves.
That's quite a statement.
It is. It's not just a nice saying. It's like it redefines your core asset as a leader. It means yourself, your inner state, your character, your emotional health, yes, but also your baggage, your biases, your strengths, your weak spots. All of that isn't just, part of the toolkit. It is the main tool.
Wow. So it's not just what you do, but the state of the person doing it.
Precisely. Think of it like the vessel holding all your skills and knowledge. If the vessel isn't sound, integrated, even the best engine, the sharpest mind, is going to struggle when things get rough.
That makes sense.
And that's the surprising bit, really, shifting from just external achievements to focusing on internal health and calibration.
And that really is such a shift from what we normally focus on and even what gets rewarded, isn't it? When you think leadership development or just, getting ahead in your career, it almost always comes back to the tangible stuff. We go after the advanced degrees, build these impressive resumes packed with accomplishments, chase the industry awards.
Yeah, the visible markers.
Exactly. The visible, measurable things that we in our organizations tend to value. It's about what you can do, your skills, and what you have achieved, your track record.
Yeah.
Not so much about who you are deep down.
We've gotten really good at collecting those external badges.
We have.
And that's right where this idea of internal wholeness comes in as the undeniable foundation. The source material really hammers this home. True leadership begins within. Now, let's be clear. It's not saying forget the external stuff. Strategic thinking, financial know-how, technical skills, they're critical. Absolutely. They're the how and the what.
Right.
But Scazzero and Rule 105 are suggesting those skills are kind of like containers for something deeper, more fundamental. So internal wholeness isn't just a soft skill you work on sometimes. It's the actual bedrock for leadership that lasts, that makes a real impact.
And what does that wholeness look like? Practical.
It implies, deep emotional and psychological health, integrating all parts of yourself, strengths, weaknesses, your past, your present motivations, even your shadows. In leadership terms, being whole in our souls goes beyond just smarts. It means solid self-awareness, like really knowing yourself, being able to manage your emotions under pressure.
Which is huge.
Huge. And having real empathy for others and this inner stability that can handle all the pressures and conflicting demands of leading people.
Okay, so give me an example. A mentally advanced leader versus a whole leader in a crisis.
Okay, yeah. Imagine a big organizational crisis. The purely mentally advanced leader might have all the data, the strategies mapped out perfectly, but if they lack emotional regulation, their own anxiety, maybe fear of failure, or hidden insecurities could just take over. They might make erratic decisions, communicate poorly, fail to inspire any confidence.
Right, I can see that.
Whereas the whole leader, they stay centered. They can still access all that intelligence, but apply it clearly, calmly, maybe even compassionately. They stabilize the situation and the people around them.
That's a huge difference. It's not just about feeling better yourself, it's about making better decisions for everyone.
Exactly. Better, more grounded decisions.
Okay, so this distinction, external markers versus internal substance, it leads to this big question. What does wholeness actually do on the ground? When leaders manage to cultivate this, what changes? How do they lead differently? How do their teams react? The article says these leaders can effectively navigate the complexities of human relationships and lead others with empathy, wisdom, and compassion. Let's picture that. Maybe a tough budget meeting, lots of competing priorities, people feeling anxious. The purely smart leader might just push hard for the numbers, maybe steamroll people a bit, damage relationships for a short-term win.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
But the whole leader, they might sense the anxiety, address it, acknowledge the human side of things, then work towards a solution that hits the targets and builds trust.
That's a profoundly different outcome.
Isn't it? It fosters a culture based on understanding, connection, shared humanity. Not just targets and directives. Sounds like a much healthier, more resilient place to work.
It absolutely does. And looking at the flip side,
Right.
the consequences of not cultivating that wholeness are just as significant, but often much more damaging. The source warns that this failure doesn't just limit the leader's own potential.
Right.
It actually perpetuates a leadership culture that values technical expertise over emotional intelligence. It's not just a personal problem, it affects the whole system.
So it casts a long shadow.
A very long shadow. Think about the brilliant ideas person who just can't take criticism, so everyone becomes a yes man, or the technically amazing manager who drives people away because they're insensitive or maybe micromanages out of their own anxiety.
Yeah, we've all seen versions of that.
Right. And the result, you get leaders who are great at certain tasks, but ill-equipped to navigate the complexities of human relationships and lead with authenticity. They might be wizards with strategy or finance, hit all their KPIs on paper, but they struggle with people, with conflict, with building trust.
Which ultimately limits everything.
Fundamentally, it leads to high turnover, burnout, low morale, instability, even toxicity. Even if the short-term numbers look okay, it's this disconnect between technical competence and real leadership effectiveness.
So this gap between the outside and the inside and the impact it has, it brings us right to Pete Scazzero's really stark view on leadership itself. He gives this warning. It's almost unavoidable, he says. The darker side of leadership is that it can be a powerful catalyst for revealing the deepest, most hidden parts of our hearts.
Wow, that's intense.
It is intense. It paints leadership not just as a role, but as a crucible, a test. It suggests it's not just a job description with tasks and targets. It's this deeply personal, often really tough journey that forces you to face who you truly are. It strips away the masks, whether you like it or not.
Like a spotlight on your inner world.
Exactly. A high-powered microscope, a relentless mirror, showing you things you might have preferred stayed hidden.
Which raises a huge question then, doesn't it? If leadership naturally shines this bright, often uncomfortable light inside us, how ready are we for that? Scazzero's warning implies that the pressures, the responsibility, the constant watching, the difficult relationships, it's almost designed to bring whatever's lurking under the surface right out into the open.
Okay, give me an example of that playing out.
Sure. Think about a leader facing sudden, harsh public criticism. Or maybe a really big, visible failure happens on their watch. If they haven't done that inner work, that criticism might just hit deep insecurities, old wounds, unresolved fears.
And they react defensively.
Exactly. Defensiveness, blaming others, making irrational choices, maybe even lashing out. Their personal issues become huge organizational problems, damaging trust and morale.
Not the whole leader.
The leader with that internal wholeness, who's wrestled with their stuff, understands their triggers, knows their fears and motivations, they might actually be able to hear the feedback. process it without their ego going into overdrive, and then respond with perhaps humility, take responsibility, outline a plan.
That's the core difference.
It really is. And that's why this internal wholeness isn't just nice. It's absolutely necessary for anyone with influence. It's not just about leading tasks well. It's about being ready for the intense self-discovery leadership forces on you. Without that inner work, you risk leading from a place of woundedness or incompleteness or fear. And that inevitably impacts everyone, the culture, the decisions, the long-term success.
Makes leadership sound like a journey of self-confrontation as much as anything else.
I think it absolutely is. Profound self-confrontation alongside external achievement.
So, okay, wrapping this up. What does this all mean for you listening, for us, as we go about our work, whether we have a big title or just influence people day to day? We've gone from that standard view of leadership, focused on achievement, smart skills, to seeing the profound, maybe even surprising importance of internal wholeness. We heard leadership rule, hashtag 105 state clearly. Whole soul advanced mind. And Scazzero reinforcing it, yourself is your most important asset.
Yeah.
It's a really powerful personal reminder. True leadership, the kind that lasts and really connects, isn't just about what you do or what you know. Fundamentally, it's about who you are. Deep down.
And that really invites you, doesn't it, to think about your own journey, whatever your role manager, team member, parent, community member. If leadership really can be a powerful catalyst for revealing the deepest, most hidden parts of our hearts, like Scazzero says, what might that mean for your inner world? What could it reveal about how you react under pressure, your real motivations, the internal landscape shaping your choices? Think about how cultivating your own wholeness and soul, that mix of self-awareness, emotional health, inner stability, how might that change your approach to challenges, to relationships, to any chance you have to lead formally or informally?
Because it feels more critical than ever now.
Absolutely. In this age of constant connection, rapid change, blurry work-life boundaries, this internal wholeness isn't just self-help, it's a core resilience factor for leadership. It equips you to show up with authenticity, with empathy, and ultimately to have a lasting positive impact, whatever you do.